Please welcome to the stage this morning's Alumni is Advisory Board Members Panel, moderated by Thomas Penny, President of Donahoe Hospitality Services.
Good morning, everyone. Is Miami in the house? Is Baltimore in the house? Is DC in the house? Prince George's County? Okay. Oh. So it's a pleasure to be here with you, especially for this moment when we'll get to hear from NAF alumni who have not only had successful careers, but have chosen to give back to NAF in their roles as advisory board members. As a NAF board member and advisory board member here in the DC area, I know the critical role our advisory board members play and the impact they can have in providing those hands-on experiences to students. I'm looking forward to hearing firsthand from NAF alums on their academy experience and their involvement in NAF academies today. So you in the audience can submit questions for the panelists using Slido. Go to slido.com, enter code #NAFNext, and submit a question. So we're going to get started. If the first question I'm going to ask you all to respond to is basically, who are you, what academy you graduated from, and what are you doing now? And we'll start with Zoe and work our way down.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Zoe Roberts, and I'm a graduate of the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism at Woodrow Wilson High School, which is now Jackson Reed, right down the road in Washington, D.C. So I'm not too far from home this morning. What I do now, today I am a membership manager at Destination DC, which is the official destination marketing organization for travel and tourism to the city. So I work directly with small businesses and get to help them promote their business to travelers and meeting professionals.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Candace Pearson. I am a graduate of the Academy of Finance from Paint Branch High School in Montgomery County, Maryland. Shout out to Montgomery County. Anybody from Montgomery County in the building? Yes. I am the Associate Vice President of Learning Engagement at Howard Community College. I've been in higher education for over 15 years at this point. I'm also the CEO and founder of CCP Educational Services, where we really work to educate student loan borrowers on repayment, federal student loan repayment and forgiveness. A lot of changes have happened July 1. When was the llast time you logged into studentaid.gov? I'm just saying. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm also the Program Advisory Committee member for the Business Management and Finance programs for MCPS. So it's just a pleasure to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joel Gonzalez. Is Miami in the house? Okay. Just checking. I graduated from Miami Springs Senior High School. And I am currently the area general manager for TPG Hotels and Resorts. I'm also the chair of the board for the AOHT program in Miami-Dade Public Schools.
Good morning, I'm Michael Durant. I graduated in 2007 from the Academy of Finance in Bronx, New York. And I currently am a CPA doing legacy planning with families, but besides from that, I also serve as the current president of the New York State CPA Society.
So if you need some help with student loans, see Candace. And if you need some legacy planning assistance, see Michael. So the next question is, thinking back to your time at your NAF Academy, what kinds of experiences did you participate in? And what was the most memorable experience that had a lasting impact on you? And this time we'll start with you, Michael.
Okay. It's easy for me to say it really was the internship, getting out of my local neighborhood, getting into downtown Manhattan, the city, into office buildings, skyscrapers, seeing people do different type of work. My mother worked for government, my father was a truck driver, and my grandfather owned a mechanic shop. So it was a real different experience to see what that experience was like and get to know what the opportunities were. And that just propelled me forward.
Good stuff. Joel?
Well, for me, it was the internships, the experience in back of house and the places that we went, and really the exposure to seeing what opportunities were out there beyond just getting a job. When I first started in high school, or when I was in high school, wanted to just get a job and make money. The academy allowed me to understand that there was more than just making money and getting a job. It was started to understand what career actually meant, and that was a great introduction to the industry.
Yeah, I would agree. I think next to the internship, I would say one of the sort of most unique experiences that I was able to engage in was starting our in-school bank. One of the things that I always share with my colleagues within MCPS, as well as my fellow PAC members, is that that experience, my leadership experience in the Academy of Finance at Paint Branch, that was the single most thing that got me the Posse Foundation Scholarship. The leadership that I was able to gain, engaging with my peers, starting up that in-school bank with our local credit union, that was by far one of the most memorable experiences for me, for sure.
We got to do so much at my academy. Everything from getting to do resume and mock interviewing with industry professionals who came in. I got to meet organizations like Destination DC, who really broadened my perspective on what a career in the hospitality industry could look like. And we also got to shadow professionals in their workplace. One of my most memorable experiences actually, ironically, has to do with Mr. Penny here. During my time in high school, we got to visit the property that he was working at the time. And it was my first real time seeing the behind the scenes of a hotel and how it operates. If you haven't been in the back of house of a hotel, it's just as large as the front. And that was definitely a new experience for me, and it really just changed my perspective on what was possible. And Mr. Penny, he shared his story with us, and not to step on your toes, but he shared his story with us that he started as a dishwasher and was able to move up and become a general manager, and I just had not heard a story like that ever in my life. It's just not common anymore that you're able to come in entry level and through hard work, persistence, and just experience, be able to work up to the top of a company. And so it really gave me energy and excitement coming into this industry, and I really appreciated that. It was great.
So let me just say that, having met Zoe when she was in high school and been a part of some sessions deciding who was going to get scholarships, and she got all the money, needless to say. I am incredibly proud of what she's doing, but let's give all of them a round of applause. So the next question is going to be, clearly we love hearing about your stories and successes. With so many NAF alumni out there who haven't heard from you, how do you think we can better connect with them? We have a broad network. We need to bring more folks into the fold. What are your thoughts on how we can better connect with them? And this time we'll start with you, Joel.
I think in today's world, connection is different than what it used to be. And so connection today is very electronic. It's not person to person, not that doesn't exist anymore. But you have to be open to those connections, people that reach out to you. And being open to everyone that's out in the industry. I think making connections with students and with colleagues and with professionals is really what helps all of our industries grow. And being open to changes in the way to connect with people. So.
Candace?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that for me, one of the things that I think has really that pushed me and kind of pulled me to serve on the program advisory committee, or what folks might commonly know as the advisory board. I think it really is about kind of reaching back, right, and paying it forward and being able to kind of pour into young people and expand equitable access to the kinds of experiences that really benefited me as a student. And so my hope is that in being able to kind of make some more of those connections, it's really helping others to understand and also buy into those stories, right? Like, what are the ways that we can work more collectively to expand that equitable access together?
Zoe?
Yeah, agreed. I think that a big part of it as well is catching those stories early while they're still in the classroom, encouraging them and getting them used to sharing about their story and just thinking about their experiences in a more narrative way. I think that young people don't always think that they're in the moment when it's happening. So just encouraging them to reflect a little bit and then to share it. I know most programs are encouraging students to build their LinkedIn profile early. We have an alumni LinkedIn group. So just encouraging them to put themselves out there and share their story early. I think that is really best. Catch them while they're early alumni, because it's so easy to lose them once they're out in the world, you know, going after their degrees or their first jobs and things like that. So I'm just catching them early.
Michael?
The only thing I would add is the branding helps. I think when I graduated from NAF, there was none of this alumni network and stuff, and that really has helped. And then in finding out that we have this and then texting my friends and saying, hey, did you know we have this? So I think part of the job is NAF did the work of creating the brand, and now we as alumni have to do the work and reach out to our friends.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, good stuff. So Candace, you touched on the need to give back. We're living in a time when a lot of the discourse is divisive. Mm-hmm. And if you all could just share, and we'll start with you, Candace, why is it important for you at this stage of your life to give back?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, kind of speaking or building on what I had mentioned before, you know, I think there is no other way for me, right? I think, you know, to be able to kind of help to reach back, like I said, and be able to support the next generation of, you know, future business leaders, business owners, founders, CEOs, I think is so critical. And a big part of that for me is also representation, right? And being able to be the change and see the change that you want in the world. You know, as a children of immigrants, my parents immigrated to America from Jamaica. And so, you know, I think one of the things that I didn't always hear about, it was always, you go to school, right? That was a non-negotiable. You had to go make sure that you get that diploma in hand, graduate from high school, go to college, go to a nice, right? Get a job, all the things. But there was really never a lot of conversation around, you know, business and ownership and what that looks like. And so I think that for me, that's really one of the things that I'm always really kind of pushing for young people, is to let them know that it doesn't have to look like any one way, right? You don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or, right? Like, there's so many different ways and things that you can do that really allows you to align your interests and your passions. And so I think that being able to help to expand that narrative and allow people to see, young people to see that anything is possible. And so I think for me, it's really about helping to tell those stories, helping to make sure that students can really just be able to realize that potential. And so for me, I think that that's a big part of why I think the reaching back and helping to provide that clarity, I think, is really so critical.
Zoe?
Yeah, agreed. I just feel that really, like, to have a village, you have to be a villager, and so many people invested in me along my way that it's just a no-brainer for me to do the same for others. Being able to come into a room where you see a familiar face or just know someone's name already because you've heard about them through your program or at a networking event makes young people feel so much more comfortable, especially as they're getting their footing in their professional careers. So if I can be a warm smile or familiar face for someone in the same way that others have been for me, I'm happy to do it. And I'm sure a lot others would feel the same way. It's just a no-brainer. Like, your network is your net worth, and it can open so many doors, even ones that you aren't even aware of yet. So I think that that's really the main reason why I continue to come back into classrooms and connect with students, because it's just important.
Joel?
For me, I have a lot of gratitude for what the program did for me, getting me moving in the right direction or in the direction of studying hospitality. For me, that is part of the motivation. I know what it did for me. I know what it introduced me to. And I want to be able to provide that for others. There were so many people along the way, like Zoe just said, that supported me and got me started and got me interested and got me curious. And I want to be able to give back in that same way or in a different way, to be able to help them find those doors and find those opportunities.
Good stuff. Michael?
I don't know what more I can add to this. This is really all of it together as we give back because we've received so much. I'm president of an 18,000 member organization. I would have never thought in a day in my life I'd be here, but had NAF not walked into my high school, I'd be doing something else. So that's why I constantly give back.
Good stuff, good stuff. So we have a sea of educators in the room, and educators oftentimes are not shown enough appreciation for what they contribute. And this is a question for all of you. Here they are in the middle of the summer when some could be on vacation, but they're here trying to build relationships, get additional information to help them be more effective as they go back into the classroom next year. And so what words of gratitude would you share with the educators that are gathered here today? And I will start with Michael.
Thank you for your patience. I was a knucklehead in high school, so I think the patience and being able to uncover the diamonds in the dirt, I think that is the skill set that you all have, and we appreciate it so much because it really does change lives and change the lives of our families.
I would say thank you for believing in me. There was when I was younger, I had really no clear path or understanding what career was, and the teachers believed in me, and that allowed me to believe in myself. And so for all of the educators in here, I know that you believe in your students. Let them know that. Give them that encouragement because they really can achieve all their dreams and strive for all of their goals. And so thank you for believing in me.
Candace?
I think to all the educators in the room, I would say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, you are truly such a gift. The work that you do matters, you matter, and you make such a difference in the lives of our young people every single day. Truly, truly.
Yeah, and your work and investment in our students does not go unnoticed, and it is felt long after they leave the classroom and go on to continue their lives. I still stay connected with my academy director and teacher from the time when I was at Wilson. And they've become like an extended part of my family. And it's the little things that you do for your students every day that they're really going to remember later, and we appreciate it.
So internships are kind of a cornerstone of NAF. And how can you and other alumni help us get more internships locally? And we'll start with you, Zoe.
Yes, well, I encourage everyone to partner with your local organizations. I come from a unique position because at Destination DC, we have an affiliated charity called Next DC that works specifically in high schools with academies of hospitality, culinary arts, and mass media. And we kind of collaborate with DC Summer Youth Employment Program to help place students in internships with organizations in our industry that are open to receiving them. So our organization uses our position with our local business community and helps place interns with them intentionally. So definitely look around, collaborate with those organizations that exist in your community who are tapped into the business community in any like local programs that you have, because if you're able to join your forces, you can really make intentional placements that align with what they're learning in the classroom, so they continue that learning over the summer.
For our advisory board, one of the things that I've been really focusing on along with my colleagues is really trying to find ways to diversify our PAC, to really be able to identify additional business partners, folks who can serve and join our advisory board who have access to those kinds of internship opportunities, whether it be their organization or other folks within their network who might also be able to provide that, right? That's one of the things, when we meet with our teachers every year, that is one of the single most things that we hear every time. We need access to internships, we need more internships. And so that, I think, has been one of the things that we've been really looking at and kind of grappling with, is how we can expand our advisory board to include more representation of business partners who have access to those opportunities. And so that's definitely been one of the things that we've been focusing on for sure.
Yes, I think to continue to increase internships, you lean on the board, make sure that your board has all of the information that they need, and be relentless, be aggressive, and continue to knock on doors, and knock on the same doors 2 times, 3 times, year after year, because a company might not be able to get involved this year, or they might just not be in the right moment, they might be having a bad year. Every year is different. Every year has new budgets, every year has new seasons or business, and so continue to knock on doors, continue to be relentless, and continue to be aggressive. Because companies out there, a lot of them, they want to help, they want to be involved. Sometimes they can't, or they just don't have enough information. So make sure that you're very well informed, make sure that you continue to grow the board, and continue to get more of the board to get involved with their colleagues and expand that network.
I would only add, have the board create partnerships. You have state society, bar associations, all these organizations where there are smaller companies who may not be able to take on a slew of interns, but they can take on 1 or 2, or even give them access to come into their offices for a day. And a lot of these people are not in the same rooms we are. They're at these other organizations, and having partnerships with them can add access to other spaces.
So the next question is, what advice would you give your high school self about making the most of NAF? And Michael, we'll start with you.
Sit down and shut up.
I've gotten that advice.
That's the start of it, but I would certainly say to myself, really absorb what you're taking in. I look back to my work-based experiences, the internship, even the prep for the internship and the classes, and I had no idea what I was learning until I got to the other side, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd paid attention a little bit more.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's an advice that one of my college advisors gave me, and it's have your plan, slow down, don't worry about the future, just never stop. Things do work out eventually. It's important to have a plan and be open to what other options are out there. And so I would tell myself to, I don't know about don't shut up, because you can't. Or I can't, but definitely continue to have a plan. And I remember he said, you're doing great. Trust yourself. You're going to get there. Don't worry about the timing. Go at your own pace.
So I've always been a very involved and active student. Like leaning into experiences was never something that was foreign to me. But I guess the thing that kind of sticks with me about that question is just the idea of joining NAF, period, or joining the Academy of Finance, period. That was not my idea. My dad was the one who, there was a letter or some kind of literature that came home, and my parents they were opening everything, right? Anything that came from the school, they were reading everything, right? And so there was a letter about the Academy of Finance, and he was the one who really kind of said, this is gonna be a really good experience. And it wasn't about the work-based learning and all of those things. It was really about the financial literacy. The financial literacy education was the thing that he was really, excited about. And so I guess what I would say to my younger self, after in consultation with him, I decided to do it, right? But I would have been a little bit more enthusiastic about it. I would be really telling my younger self, like, listen, this is really going to be the experience that's going to open up so many other doors. Because looking back now, there's no way that I could have imagined that everything that happened, from the Posse Scholarship, my time at Bucknell, and even how it all kind of connects to what I do today, would have had no idea that that was what was sort of on the horizon as a result of my NAF experience.
Yeah, I would say continue to invest in those relationships, because the friends that you make in the classroom, or even the relationships that you build with your educators or the community members that come in and engage with you during your time, those are important. And really focus and learn the art of building and maintaining relationships. It's beyond just making the initial connection. Really understanding how to manage a relationship where it's even, it's not too much taking and not too much giving, is an art. And I wish that I had known that sooner and really taken the time to be intentional in how I was, feeding and watering those relationships that I was building at that time. Because you never know who you know until it's important. And yeah, the sooner you build those relationships and make those connections, the better.
So Zoe, coming back to you, and this is a continuation of the relationship theme, how can teachers now work to maintain relationships with students so that they can come back as alum and show the benefits of involvement?
Yeah, just keep a tab. Keep a tab on your students, connect with them in the ways that are appropriate for you. LinkedIn, I know my educators, once I graduated, just friended me on Facebook. So they were always able to see like when big life events happened, and they would touch base with me throughout the years, just checking. And if you see that they're based locally or at an organization that you believe there could be a partnership with, don't hesitate to reach out and circle back on that. Like, oh, I see you're here now. And invite them to come back out into the classrooms. A lot of young people are very willing to come back to the classroom. They just haven't received the invitation yet. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask them, would you be willing to volunteer some time? Even just coming into the classroom to have some office hours where students can ask you questions over lunch break. It doesn't have to be a high pressure scenario, but don't hesitate to reach out and just ask, because most times you will get a yes.
I would agree. I completely agree. I think that, and I wouldn't just put it solely on the teachers. I think that for all of us, the teachers, the advisory board members, right, the PAC, the folks within the local school system, like we need to really think about more ways that we can better embrace and engage our alumni. The same way that we're reaching out to business partners and trying to get them to engage, right, we need to be engaging our alumni in the same ways. Mock interviews, access to internships, conversations about how to better the program, all the things.
Okay. I think this past Monday we got together as alumni, and I think continuing to get the students involved in what comes next is really, really, really important. Keeping them involved while they're in the program, I think it's great. But talking to them about what that future is going to be. And it could be as simple as just keeping them connected through whatever technology is available. It is an incredible resource for all of us to be developing the students at the high school level. We should try to keep a hold of them, keep them involved, keep them connected in whatever ways we can. I think NAF is moving in the right direction with focusing on the alumni, because it is, I would say, almost a resource that we're just starting to tap. But it's always been there, and it's going to continue to be there. And so keeping them involved and keeping them connected, figuring out what works best for your students in your school.
I think that's it, figuring out what works best for those students and those alumni, because first couple of years out of school, your job doesn't give you the opportunity to come and take a day off and really spend time in the classroom. But maybe you can take a lunch break and do a Zoom in now and contribute. I think finding different opportunities for different alumni across the country, people move, they go away for college, they change careers. It all matters, and just having the opportunity to give back in the best way each of us can, I think that's what will help us grow.
So as we prepare to close out this session, I just want to double down on expressing our appreciation to all the educators in the room for the endless sacrifices that you make on behalf of the students. I want to thank the NAF team for bringing this together, and obviously the government partners that are present. Faith is still here. For all of those that continue to invest in NAF, we got more work to do. We have to expand NAF. We have to deepen it where it exists, and we have to expand it to new locations. And so on behalf of all of those that are here today, I just want to say we're incredibly proud of all of you for what you've done. And I think we're even prouder of what you're doing to give back to the next generation. So let's give these NAF alum a round of applause.